discretion warning. This video is based on my Commander life experiences only. These are my proven methods. Welcome to Super Fast Tortoise. Today, we'll be talking about cardboard programming. What is cardboard programming? Cardboard programming is deck building and the process of. In this video, you will learn the skills to build a commander deck and learn the process for quality strategy design. A better commander deck for newer players. Please feel free to take notes. Let's do this, and we start right now. This video is going to teach you the basics of deck building and the skills to advance and exercise your deck building skills. Let's learn about finding synergy and how to see it. Recognizing synergy helps you pilot the deck. It helps you play correctly, gives you the knowledge and the show and tells for you when playing your deck and when building your deck. Why is synergy important? Synergy is both focus and direction. Synergy gives you focus. It is used when you are playing a game of Magic. Direction is where synergy tells you to go when deck building. While playing your deck, synergy gives you focus. While drawing cards that show and tell information about what is inside your deck, showing you what cards you will expect to draw during a game, telling you what type of cards to play and receive a bonus for playing that type of synergy. When deck building, synergy directs you to put in certain cards and certain types of cards into your deck. This will show and tell you what direction you can and or where to go, thusly incentivizing strategy. So what is synergy? Well, this is the part where everything I just taught you is needed to understand the importance of synergy and why it is important to understand focus and direction. Because synergy is the interaction or cooperation between two or more cards that give you the bonus of a triggered ability or a static ability, but in basic generals, combo cards. There are three types of synergies you need to know. 1. Serviceable synergy. Stacking cards to bonus off a single triggered effect and or game state effect. 2. Forced synergy. Playing cards of a certain type for bonus interactions. 3. Tactical synergy. Playing cards that let you reuse or repeat a card and its effects multiple times or search for cards that fit your theme and or end goal. Let's talk about these three synergies. Serviceable synergy, forced synergy, tactical synergy. Serviceable synergy and forced synergy are both board state effective synergies. Tactical synergy, this is a deck-based synergy. Each of these synergies serves a purpose. What is board state effective synergy? First, you want to understand that the battlefield is your player board, and the same is for your opponent. Every card you play or want to play always is going to make you check the board and or is going to be influenced by what is on the board. The battlefield is your board. From creatures, instants and sorceries, enchantments, artifacts, planeswalkers, etc., etc., etc. When you play them, it's going to be influenced by what is not or is on the board. A board state effect always is going to do one of three things you have to look for when you cast a spell or when a permanent enters the battlefield. 1. Triggering an ability of another card on the battlefield to bonus from casting a certain card type or having a certain card type enter the battlefield. 2. Replacing and or adding a card on the battlefield that is a functional reprint of a card and or is a card of a similar effect. This is used to keep a consistent theme and or ability in your deck. Triggers activate when a certain thing is fulfilled, like an effect that goes off when entering the battlefield, or when a creature dies, or when you cast an enchantment, etc., etc., etc. 3. It alters the state or characteristic of what cards are on the battlefield by buffing your team with +1/+1 power and toughness, effects that are static or adding counters for permanent results, or giving all your creatures additional keyword abilities, example like haste, death touch, trample, or setting up combo pieces to trigger off cards of a certain type or a game state action, example like attacking, creatures dying, loss, or gaining of life. And static abilities are always on, always active, and creates a new rule for the game basically. These synergies mix and repeat all the time. You will see them again later in this video. What you are learning in today's video is all synergy synergizes with different synergies, but not all cards synergize with each other, and that is a topic on themes. And all synergy show and tell you what you should be doing while deck building and while playing your game. Now let's discover what these three synergies are all about: serviceable synergy, forced synergy, and tactical synergy. Serviceable synergy. This synergy is used to accentuate, exasperate, and make excessive the triggers of a one-time effect to build multiple triggers from a one-time and or every time this happens effect. Here's an example. You have Nekuzar the Mindrazor, who makes everybody draw an additional card. But now, every time your opponents draw a card, they take 1 damage for each card they draw. Now, the Locust God combos off, saying every time you draw a card, you get a 1/1 blue-red insect creature token with flying and haste. Then Psychosis Crawler says, whenever you draw a card, each opponent loses 1 life. Then Dictate of Kruphix says, at the beginning of each player's upkeep, they each draw an additional card. So this whole convoluted mess here stacks up and says, hey, we're taking the advantage of a one-time ability and exasperating it and making it excessive. And as another example, we have Impact Tremors that says whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, it deals 1 damage to your opponents. Warm Storm Surge says whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, it deals damage equal to that creature's power to any target, your opponent, your creature, etc. You have Purphoros, God of the Forge, that says whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, Purphoros deals 2 damage to each opponent. Then you have Ant Queen, I just threw in here, that says pay 2, create a 1/1 insect creature token onto the battlefield. With all these enchantments out, when you cast Ant Queen, it will do 8 damage altogether to your opponent. Then Ant Queen says, pay 2, add a 1/1 green insect creature token to the battlefield, triggering all the other enchantments, and that is serviceable synergy. Now, forced synergy. This is the synergy people use when they want to play a deck based around a certain creature type and or card type. Example, dinosaurs, merfolk, enchantments, etc., etc., etc. Now here's an example of forced synergy. Here we have Satyr Enchanter, who's a 2/2 creature, who says whenever you cast an enchantment spell, draw a card. Then you have Sigil of the Empty Throne. This enchantment says whenever you cast an enchantment spell, you create a 4/4 white angel creature token with flying. Then you have Enchantress's Presence. Whenever you cast an enchantment spell, draw a card. And over here we have Sphere Safety, which says creatures can't attack you or a planeswalker you control unless its controller pays X mana for each of those creatures, where X is the number of enchantments control. Notice everything's enchantments and everything is forced for enchantments. Now here's another example of forced synergy. You have Knight of the Stampede that says dinosaur spells cost 2 less to cast. Then you have Otepic Huntmaster who says dinosaur spells cost 1 less to cast, and you can tap it to give a dinosaur haste until end of turn. Then you have Gishath Sun's Avatar who says whenever Gishath Sun's Avatar deals combat damage to a player, reveal that many cards from the top of your library, and you can put any number of dinosaur cards revealed this way from the top of your library onto the battlefield and put the rest at the bottom of your library in any order. Then you have Zakama Primal Calamity, who's just a big beater with lots of abilities worth playing. This is forced synergy because everything works for dinosaurs or is a dinosaur. Here is another example of forced synergy for those people who want to play Merfolk. Coppola, Warden of the Waves, says spells your opponents cast that target a Merfolk you control cost 2 more to cast. Then abilities your opponents control activate that target a Merfolk you control cost 2 more to activate. Then you have Kumana, Tyrant of Urkaza, who says you can tap another untapped Merfolk you control, and Kumana, Tyrant of Urkaza cannot be blocked this turn. Then it has you can tap 3 untapped Merfolk you control to draw a card. Then it has tap 5 untapped Merfolk you control and put a +1/+1 counter on each Merfolk you control. Here we have Mero Reedry, who says other Merfolk you control get +1/+1, and whenever you play a Merfolk spell, you may tap or untap a target permanent of any players. Then Seafloor Oracle says whenever a Merfolk you control deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. This is all forced synergy. Now let's talk about tactical synergy. Playing cards that let you reuse or repeat a card multiple times and or search for cards that fit your theme, synergy, and or end goal of the game, that is tactical synergy. Playing synergistic cards is fun. Playing them twice is pure excitement. You always find yourself needing a card you've previously played and or that has been countered or destroyed. Also, you need a card that has not been drawn yet. You put in cards that let you find them from your deck or graveyard. Incorporating these type of cards in your deck is synergy. You want cards that let you get back cards from your graveyard. You want cards that let you look through your deck and let you find the card you want or need. Then you put it into your hand. That is tactical synergy. Here's some examples of tactical synergy. Lotus Eye Mystics lets you grab an enchantment from your graveyard to your hand. Mystic Retrieval lets you grab an instant or sorcery card from your graveyard to your hand. Cadaver Imp lets you grab a creature card from your graveyard to your hand. Anarchist lets you grab a sorcery from your graveyard to your hand. And Recollect lets you grab a card from your graveyard to your hand. Now here are some other examples of tactical synergy. You have Heliod's Pilgrim, which lets you search your library for an aura card and put it into your hand. You have Merchant Scroll, that lets you search your library for an instant or sorcery card, reveal it and put it into your hand. You have Diabolic Tutor, that lets you search your library for any card and put it into your hand. You have Flamekin Harbinger, which lets you search your library for an elemental creature, reveal it and put it in your hand. You have Summoner's Pact, lets you search your library for a green creature and put it into your hand. Now the main thing you want to know, other than this is tactical synergy, is Diabolic Tutor effects, which let you search your library for any card, do not require you to reveal the card you got. And that is the 3 synergies you need to know. Now let's talk about deck-based synergy. Tactical synergy is big on deck-based synergy, because it is used to direct you as your decks focus during gameplay, letting you search for cards you need. Instilling tactical synergy cards effectively take up a card slot in your deck to enact as a doppelganger fix, fetching for a card you want to have in your hand. Remember the scope? If not, I will put a link in the description for you to watch. Now the scope is designed to work with deck-based synergy. It is designed to let you see where you need the cards and how many of those cards you have to start with when beginning the deck building process. Everything I have taught you in today's video is about cards in the body portion of the deck, but you can expand all synergy based cards into the scope where you can see fit for your deck build. Use the scope to your advantage. Your mana, ramp, and draw slot is important. Deck-based synergy is specific for this kind of strategy and synergy, because using cards that take a land out of your deck helps you draw into the non-land cards you want, and cards that draw extra cards help feed more options into your hand. Deck-based synergy is deck building to consistently be playing a spell each turn and or progressing your board state with every card you play, including removing a permanent that your opponent controls. By constantly using cards to get the cards you need, you draw into the cards you want and getting the correct land and or mana ramp to play your spells. Now let's talk win conditions. Now, with everything we just talked about, the scope, board state effective synergy, the 3 synergies, and deck-based synergy, now I'm going to simplify the entire process. Now that you know what every synergy is that you need to know to start deck building, you need to understand the method to my madness, so you can grow and learn to habitually build good commander decks for starting players. First things first, start with your scope ready. So after you have selected your commander, have your scope figured out and have your mana ramp, draw, removal, and board wipes ready for your deck. Because these parts of the scope can be added to or taken away from as you build your deck, as you see fit for what you want as you build your deck. Work on your land last. It is perpetually important to work on your land slot last as the final step to building your deck. This is because you need to build it around the rest of the scope and body. This gives you a better vision of your land portion of your deck. Then you look at the 5 synergies we discussed. Serviceable synergy, forced synergy, tactical synergy, deck-based synergy, board state effective synergy. Then on your notes, write and make a column for synergy, and underneath the word synergy, write the 5 synergies like so. I have them listed with each type of synergy without the word synergy. And write these notes in brackets like I have displayed. For serviceable, I have does it accentuate, exasperate, and or make excessive of the themes and take advantage of the triggers I want. For forced, I have does it force my strategy, theme, or synergize with what my deck wants to do? And for tactical and deck-based, I put in one column. I have, does it let me reuse or repeat a card multiple times from the graveyard and or search for a card in my library? And for board state effective, I have, does it alter the state or characteristic or set up a combo piece? Will it trigger an ability of another card on the battlefield? Does it replace a card on the battlefield or add a similar effect? Then you want to gauge the cards you want to put in your deck and measure them up to this list, asking yourself these questions that we have noted. This is important because you want to direct the cards in your deck towards your win conditions. I call this process with the scope and the synergy list we have made the Scope 5. So remember the Scope 5 technique. With everything we just talked about are the tools you need to understand the Scope 5, making it easier to design a path to lead to your win cons, formatting your deck to give you the cards you need and to enhance your gameplay strategy. So choose your win conditions when you select your commander for your deck. As soon as you have your win conditions and your commander to build around, you will have a clear line of sight goal to build with. Using the Scope 5 technique when playing your game after building with the Scope 5 technique, you will be able to make better decisions while playing the game. Because the Scope 5 technique forces you to do 2 things. 1. Remember most of the cards in your deck, and 2. Give you the knowledge for the reason why cards are in your deck. A win condition is a card, like a creature, artifact, planeswalker, enchantment, etc., a combo and or strategy you want to win a game with. Your commander can be one of your win conditions. I personally like to use my commander as more of a functional card to my deck, adding to my gameplay and extend upon my scope 5. I personally have my win conditions hidden and then tucked inside my deck. Here are some examples of win conditions. One of these can be your commander. Craterhoof Behemoth is about spreading a lot of little creatures out, playing him, beefing up your team, and swinging in for a big beatdown. Nekuzar the Mindrazor can be your commander, and he likes to draw people to death by making them take damage for cards they draw. Jace, Wielder of Mysteries, lets you win if you have 0 cards in your own deck. And yes, Jace can go in the same deck as Nekuzar and be fine as an alternative win condition. Dance of the Mance is a card that lets you get back a bunch of enchantments from the graveyard, but you can turn them all into 4/4s and win with enchantment creatures. That could be fun. Gishath Sun's Avatar, a big beater with haste, and searches for other dinosaurs. Winning with dinosaurs, if that's your thing, he's a good win condition. Mirrodin Besieged says, at the bottom here, says if you have 10 or more artifacts in your graveyard, you win the game. Just fun win conditions. Aetherflux Reservoir says you can pay 50 life to deal 50 damage to another player. That's pretty much removing a player from the game. Philidar Sovereign here says if you have 40 or more life, you win the game. And Purphoros God the Forge, you've seen him before. Whenever a creature comes into play, you deal 2 damage. Playing lots of creatures that way is a way to get the game going in your favor. Win conditions are fun. There are a lot of win conditions out in the world of Magic the Gathering, and a ton of fun to be discovered. Commander, I think, is the best place to play them. This is what I call cardboard programming. Cardboard programming is being able to use the knowledge I just bestowed upon you, apply my knowledge to your deck building habits, and make it habitual to your deck building process. You will be able to understand how your deck is scoped to function, direct, and focus your deck building skills. Cardboard programming is deck building. So playtest and expect your deck to function the way you want it to. Then find out what works for you and what does not. Find your playstyle. Hone in your skills by playing and playing again. Building better decks, you can only further your knowledge to become a better player, gain that much needed experience you want to further supplant the seeds of natural discovery. Did you know, in the wild, it is a unique and rare occurrence to see a group of tortoises together. It is such an unusual sight to behold, and as magnificent as it is to see, it is called a creep. Well, my peeps, subscribe to my channel, hit that bell notification, and let's start our own YouTube creep.